Gentlemen, is it just me, or after a hard month of working, you take a look at your bank account and there still isn't much in there? You start questioning things. Have I been paid the right amount? I'm sure I should have earned more than this. And usually that isn't the case, especially if you're a student. The thing is, material possessions and life generally just costs way more than you ever expect. And I know from being a student myself that the majority of you guys out there are absolutely horrendous with money. Having made pretty much every mistake in the book when it comes to money, I think I'm in a pretty good position to give you guys my 6 money saving tips if you're a student and how to get more out of the limited funds that you've got. Tip number 1, stop buying branded food and drinks. Mummy and Daddy may well have been buying you Waitrose food, Heinz ketchup, branded items. However, when you're a student, this just simply isn't sustainable. The truth of the matter is that in a lot of cases, the stuff that you'll buy from the supermarket, you can get either cheaper at a cheaper supermarket such as Aldi or Lidl, or using the home brand alternative products. And the thing is, loads of this stuff is pretty much identical. And I've seen this recently myself. I went into the Co-op the other week to have a look for some of these premium, fancy, nice, delicious crisps. And had a look and found out that the Co-op home brand crisps are actually made by Tyrrell's, but they're half the price. But they're actually made at the exact same farm, and you can actually see the address on the back of the packet. And just because those fries aren't McCain fries, it doesn't mean they're going to taste like crap, because a lot of the time the stuff tastes fine. And in my opinion, if this is stuff that you're then going to be excreting later in the toilet, it's dispensable. If you can save yourself a ton of money every week, then I would go out there and buy the cheaper versions of these products, and you'll save yourself a ton of money. And when it comes to alcohol, oh, things get even worse. Too many people are so obsessed and sort of brand addicted that they'll only buy Smirnoff vodka, even though, let's be honest guys, when we down vodka, it burns your throat no matter what. So in my opinion, if I'm going to buy something that tastes like paint stripper, I'd rather buy the cheaper version that also tastes like paint stripper for half the price. And the price differences with alcohol are even more staggering than the food prices. You're talking £10 worth of saving per bottle of this stuff. Some people sort of feel the need, I think, to be seen with these branded alcoholic items to make them look cool or something, but believe me, by the time you get to the end of 3rd year and you've got no money left, then you won't be worrying about this whatsoever. So try the home brands now, you might as well. Money saving tip number 2 is quite similar to tip number 1, and that is try and eat less takeaways and stop eating out quite as much. As a student, you've pretty much got almost no dispensable income if you actually want to have a social life as well. So wasting money on stuff like takeaways and eating out, it may taste nice for that one night, however, it's going to cost you tons and tons in the long run. You see these things like Domino's pizza and you're talking £16 or £17 per pizza. I just think that that's absolutely bonkers that people would spend that sort of money regularly, and people do it. I see the students, they'll spend it on Domino's pizza every single week, and when you really add this up over the course of the year, you're talking hundreds of pounds that you really don't have unless you want to plunge into an overdraft. My best alternative to takeaways or eating out is actually going to places like Iceland, where you can go and buy sort of takeaway style pizzas and stuff. Tastes quite similar in all honesty. You just have to put it in the oven yourself. You have to just do a bit of manual labour. These things are quick, easy, and ideal for the lazy student. You can just whack them in the microwave or in the oven. But I'm not saying that you can't, eat out once in a while. I just see people doing it so often and then they're wondering why they're so broke, and this is one of the main reasons. Money saving tip number 3 is a really good one actually, and this is get your accommodation sorted as early as possible every single year. You have to get in there as early as possible in order to get the most accommodation for your money. And this is true no matter which year of university study you're in. This is probably the most important tip I'll give you guys who are in your first year of university, because if you're looking to move out into private accommodation for 2nd year, like most people have to, you're going to want somewhere that's pretty decent. So you've really got to decide who you're living with and sort out pronto. I'm talking November to December of your first year of uni, which seems like crazy amount of time in advance, but believe me, you won't regret it. Because I see far too many people spending over the odds for below par accommodation because they left it so late, so they're just left with the scraps that no one else wants. And then again at the end of 2nd year, you've got to use the same thing for 3rd year and onwards. You've really got to move around maybe as well, find the best deals, because sometimes if you just stay in the same place with the same landlord, you won't get the best deals possible. Shop around a little bit and try and get yourself the most you can for the least amount of money, and this can save you a significant chunk. Tip number 4 is stop paying full price for things that you don't need to. So in other words, try and use eBay a bit more. Too many people are afraid of buying used items. I think they've got this impression, oh, someone's died with this, someone's used it, it's not as good as it could be. A lot of the time, that's absolute nonsense. eBay can be massively useful when it comes to stuff like sports equipment, clothing. You can save yourself an absolute fortune. Just make sure that you look over the description of the items, make sure that they're in the condition that you want, and then you can pay way less than you're going to pay to buy these things full price. And this also includes things like books as well, because at the end of the day, a book is a book and it's still going to work the same if someone's already read through it than it would if you bought it new for twice the price. I have actually done several videos before on the channel talking about things like eBay and how this can save you tons and tons of money. One of my earliest videos on the channel is probably worth a check out. It's about a great tool that you can use on eBay which can bid for items for you and save you a ton of money. It stops the whole bidding process basically, so make sure you watch that video if you haven't already. You can either click on the screen now in the cards above or in the description below. But anyway, back onto topic and back onto the 5th tip, and that is if you're going to university, don't take a car. And I mean this if you're someone who has moved away from home to go to university. Maybe if you've gone to a uni that you live near to, then that's fine if you've got to commute to and from university. But really, if you are moving into halls of residence or private accommodation right near the university, do as much as you can really to avoid taking a car. There's really no point in blowing money on stuff to do with cars. Maybe your car will need repairing, insurance, loads of this stuff if you're only going to be using it really twice a week. It doesn't add up. I'll see people taking their cars to university as almost like a status symbol, I think, and it ends up really being their taxi for other people. Other people just love to hitch rides with these people and get free journeys out of them. And you don't want to be that. You don't want to be a broke taxi driver. It just doesn't make sense. If you really must take your car, I'd probably advise getting a job if your course will allow that in order to sort of fund the car, because these things can become incredibly expensive, and I've seen people plunge into thousands of pounds of debt at university from just having a car alone. And the final money saving tip I've got for you guys, number 6, is actually more of a mentality that you should use when you're going out and thinking, should I buy this or should I not? Because when it comes to trying to get by with barely any money, you've got to be ruthless. When it got near to the middle to end of my state university, when money was getting very, very tight, I used to sort of go by the phrase, do I actually need it? Because I've seen it so many times that when the student loans get paid in, for that 2-week period after the student loan gets paid in, people are just splashing the cash on anything and everything possible. Thousands and thousands of pounds spent in next to no time, and then you're left with no money in your bank account. And you'd be amazed how many people do this, and you're probably watching this thinking, oh, I'd never do that. Some of you have probably never had this much money just plunked into your account before. A lot of people can't resist the temptation, but if you sort of go by the phrase, do I actually need this, when you're looking whether you can actually buy an item or not, then that'll help you to be a lot more strict about it. But I'm not saying you can't treat yourself, just try and be responsible with your money, and hopefully, you know, by clicking on videos just like this one, then you've actually taken one good step in order to help yourself control your money and then use it more effectively, get more stuff really for your money. But that brings this one to an end, and if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you let me know by liking it, and also if you're new around here, you haven't seen one of my videos before, I'd advise you come and join the community, so make sure you subscribe to the channel